The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and The Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful Wednesday, April 11th. It is National Pet Day. It's a pleasant 83 degrees in Clearwater, Florida, the headquarters for technical trading and investing. And we've got a nice day out here. We've got a little bit of positive spin to the market, up about 11 on the S&P, 12 or 22 on the NASDAQ, 103 on the Dow. Nice day out there. Gold's off about $2.60. Pretty much a flat day. Probably the most exciting thing out here is probably the natural gas contract off 4 cents and under $2. I think a couple weeks ago on a Wednesday, in fact it was probably about 2 weeks ago, said that it really looked like natural gas was going to $1.50. If you would have told me that even a year ago, I would have laughed at you. But it just seems to me that natural gas is, for all practical purposes, about free, as far as I can figure it out, and just a little bit. Anyway, we've got some nice news out here in the marketplace today. Alcoa came out before the bell, saying that everything is kind of interesting. One thing on natural gas, I've been watching a new symbol. Almost everybody's been watching UNG out there. You might want to take a look at BOIL, B-O-I-L, which is also a natural gas ETF out there, and you can watch them both. But it's kind of interesting. It is National Pet Day. Unfortunately, my longtime friend of 14 years passed away about a month ago. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something like that. I had Gala for almost 14 years. Well, she was been 14 years April 1st. She was my April 1st baby. But I picked up El Diablo. I gave him that name after he bit me the first day. I'm fostering a Chihuahua. After having a miniature Schnauzer, having a very tiny Chihuahua that's very feisty is a little different. But I think everything's just a little nicer when you have a pet, and it is interesting. But think about there and go out and foster a pet, or even get a rescue dog. Although I hate that term rescue, because I have yet to see anybody that said they had a rescue dog actually go into a burning building and pull the dog out. They went to the pound and got the dog, which is fine. But I don't know. It just seems. I mean, there's real heroes and everything, and I don't know. Just going to the pound and picking up a dog, not too interesting. I mean, not that it's uninteresting, but just, it's not heroic. You're just getting a pound puppy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some great dogs out of there. El Diablo is giving me a run for the money as I try to train him and get him ready for a nice family. But it's been about 13 and a half years since I had to worry about puppy issues and puppy breath. That's kind of bringing it all back. But everything's wonderful. Did talk a little bit about Alcoa last night, this morning. Coming up, saying demand is about the same. Probably the first time in a long time this thing hasn't just totally disgraced everybody involved in the company. Let's see if I can get a quote real quick for it here. It's actually up. How can you believe that? Alcoa up a day after earnings. To say it isn't so, Joe. Anyway, up a little bit. We've got IPOs Thursday. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about that. Apple's getting sued by the old good old USA. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Apple has got its own wonderful Trojan now called Flashback. And of course, since Apple hasn't had a lot of really good, well-written viruses, this thing has made its way through about 600,000 computers. when a company was nice enough to tell Apple about it, Apple kind of blew their collective noses at the folks, which gives you kind of the reason why I'm not a big Apple fan. If you've ever dealt with them as a business, just kind of almost got that French kind of attitude about everything. But nice that the company told them about them. They're going to have to make a fairly in-depth removal tool, as this thing is dug in as about as far as a Alabama tick in the middle of the summer. Natural gas under $2. Boyle, I think, is a one to watch at too. It is I think a 2X version of the natural gas contract out there. But just give it a little view if you are watching those. I think we're going to get down there at about $1.50, and the risk reward is going to be pretty astronomical to get something on that. In the news, Maryland has banned employers from requesting social media passwords. It passed in both houses of the Maryland General Assembly. It had been tried to run through as a national bill about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and when it failed, Maryland stepped up, and it's at least protecting its folks. I think that there is a line to be drawn between professional and personal, and if you have to get a password to get in and look at what people are doing, then it's probably not your business as an employer, in my opinion. I think most of these laws are going to be coming on, at least at the state level, at most places. In a election year, it is tough to get a lot of things done, but Maryland is setting the standard on at least personal, I would say personal issues, at least having to do with Facebook-like issues. Iran is banning its internet. They are starting to yank every cable they can in the entire country. They will literally not have any internet in an entire country come about the 1st of August. But they've already started. And, of course, if you want to be a tyrannical dictator, it doesn't really work good if people can tweet out real news. But having total control is going to also mean that they're probably going to have a little problem with getting and becoming anything in the way of disruptive in actual technology, other than they can be disruptive in sinking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. But I guess those old guys that love to throw their shoes in the knitting, what do they call those knitting things? Anyway, I'm having a mental blank today. But just kind of going back to the Stone Ages out there, kind of interesting to see a country actually doing it. Jack Tramiel died. For those not big into computers, he was the founder of Commodore. Actually started kind of a typewriter company, morphed into selling the Commodore 64, was thrown out by a spineless weasel that I knew fairly well, Irving Gould. But all these guys had kind of an economy with ethics. But Tramiel, he did get started. He's kind of the guy that was the opposite of Steve Jobs. He thought they should be utilitarian, cheap, and disregard elegant design or attention to detail. That they should just work and be as cheap as possible. At the prices they were back then, not a bad deal. I think I bought my Commodore 64 for $275 at a discount house that I think is no longer around, like a Kmart or something like that. But even before Kmart, it may have been like a Macy's or Five and Dime or something. But kind of interesting. Anyway, years later, I went to Commodore Business Machines and was visiting them on a business meeting, and had about an hour and a half before my next meeting, and it's in Westchester, New York. So I went behind in the back, and there were trailer after trailer after trailer full of dead Commodore 64s that they had taken back, that they were still showing on their books even then. This had to be around 1992, 3. Anyway, when I went back there and saw that the doors were not even locked, I'd open up and look, and there was just, as far as I could tell, there were probably 500,000 of these old dead Commodore 64s back there and other dead computers that they were keeping in there so that they could show them on inventory. I didn't know at the time because it was before I really got involved in stock trading. But what a beautiful short that would have been once I saw that. It was about $6.50 at the time. I don't know if I could have shortened it, but probably would have been a great thing to do. Trammell went on to go back and work with Atari and take that kind of over. Try to come out with a competitor to the Amiga, which Commodore was pushing at the time. They failed first, but we're starting to lose the leaders of the first tech revolution, and Jack Trammell was one of those guys. Let's see here. Best Buy must be racist. They've taken a lot of flack over the last 2 days, but some of the things that probably the most interesting thing I saw came out about them is that now if you try to return any item, they will take your driver's license, and of course we know any driver's license must be racist if you ask for it, because if you ask for it to vote, it must be racist. But anyway, we have if you do go into Best Buy, they will scan your driver's license, put it into their system, and for 90 days they will not let you return anything else. Other companies are doing this also. I've noticed Walmart has gotten, I don't know, it used to be very easy to return something at Walmart. I bought something, electronics, never opened it. It was still stapled and closed. They ripped the whole thing apart, checked every seal on the device, make sure I didn't open it up. And I don't think I've tried to return anything for them for a year and a half. But I think a lot of these big box stores are really trying to crack down on people returning stuff. But not being able to return something for 90 days means I'm not going to be buying something from them for 90 days. The CEO quit. It looks like they don't have a lot of plans in the way of going on. But asking for your driver's license, probably not a bad deal. 90 days, a bad deal. Just be aware of that. Of course, not going out of business tomorrow, but certainly taking a lot of flack out there in the investment marketplace. On our IPO calendar, we have several companies coming out. FTE Forum Energy, MRC, BrightSource, and Alaris. All of these are companies in the energy sector that will become public tomorrow. If you're watching on there, the symbols are going to be FET, MRC. Didn't know what, I forgot the last ones. But Forum Energy is pricing at 15.8 million shares. Actually not going to be too bad. Somewhere between $18 and $20 per share. Going to raise about $300 million bucks. MRC Global, pipes, valves, and fittings for energy. $500 million, not too bad. BrightSource, solar thermal technology company, and Alaris is a manufacturer of aluminum. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN. Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I watch almost a month now, and it's just wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today. Click Investment Newsletters and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments. And whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you seek to maximize your returns. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. Prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. Funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of the money game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You are born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, we're going to go to stocks just a little early today. And if you have a question, you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. We'll discuss your stock. We're going to look at the volume, which is just about 3 billion shares with, 35 minutes to go? Yeah, it'll just be about 3 billion shares on the consolidated New York Stock Exchange tape. Ended up with 4.6 billion shares yesterday. Again, still thinking that 5.5, 6.5 billion is probably going to be the next huge change in the marketplace when we see some kind of volume like that. Right now, a lot of stocks up just a bit. I'll check back in real quick. Just take up 9 on the S&P, kind of bouncing around here. Would imagine a lot of people have gotten bearish, so probably look at a few people probably covering in the morning and shorting again at the end of every day, at least for a few days, even if we go up. Probably a lot of people still thinking very bearishly. I particularly think that this thing's going to continue to move up into the Facebook IPO later this month. And I think we're probably going to be hanging out here. A lot of stocks that have been going down hit longer-term lows on lighter volume over the last few days. A lot of the big cap stocks actually came down on volume. So we had a lot of stocks actually stop and some really popped yesterday or today on the reversal. One of the things I've been noticing is gold and whether or not this is some kind of short-term or medium-term bottom, or if this is just going to take another big plunge. Gold itself was just off $2.70. I'm looking at support in gold at 1646, 1645 or so on the current contract. That we're up about 13, 14 bucks on that. Not a lot of extra room, but when we look at the actual gold miner stocks, kind of beating along these lows, making it look like there's a fairly decent low. We're looking at Eldorado Gold, and I think we looked at that on Monday. Kind of an interesting miner stock. Looks like we're going to have a nice close above this low, but it had the high volume low on what is that? December 19th at 10 million shares. It's been trying to get through that low at $12.84. Since that date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts. All of them have been on about half that volume. Yesterday we came in with about 4 million shares on that, trying to get through the bottom, and a nice reversal, nice little candle out here, that a hammer. Looking like maybe it is trying to hammer out a bottom in this marketplace. If that was the only one that I would be thinking. But a few other stocks out there were kind of interesting. Hecla Mining, kind of a similar kind of thing. Not getting a real big bounce off these, but certainly hitting these high volume lows on light volume. January 11th on Hecla, HL, $4.25. 53 million shares, is that right? Just a monster of a day. It's trying to get through those lows. Yesterday we had 6.5 million shares down to 509. Let's see, close. We may not close above that 425, so you don't have a signal on it yet, but certainly a lot less volume here today. Also going on this gold theme out here is Jaguar Mining. It looks like it is breaking through the low on heavier volume, which is one of the few that is not cooperating with that theory. What I'm looking at in Jaguar Mining, maybe there's a news event on it I didn't look at, is the October 21st low out here at $4.03. Let's go to a 1 year on this, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. But that $4.10 level, and the last one here at 403, October 21st, 1.5 million shares, blew through it with volume today. Let's see if there's any headlines on it. But one of the other ones out there that's actually doing it, let's see, sales Wednesday. RBC downgrade, it says here today. Okay. So anyway, one of the few out there. We're going to look at some other stocks. Another one that's kind of hammering at a bottom at these levels. Neighbors Industries, NBR is the symbol for it. The 1604, 1596 lows. There's several of them in here. $16.36, January 17th. 10 million shares, 8.7 million shares. Got into it with about 7 million shares yesterday. But some of these kind of setting up rather interesting. We'll be going back to a few of these, but give me a call, 877-927-6648.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've always thought about trying out his newsletter, Market Insights. Well, now is the perfect time. For a limited time only, when you sign up for a 2-week free trial to Market Insights, we'll send you a free copy of Tom O'Brien's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. If you decide to cancel within the 2-week trial period, pay absolutely nothing and keep Tom's book as a free gift from us. Tom sends out his daily newsletter each morning by 9:30 a.m. with trade recommendations, including price targets and price stops. As recently as March 21st, Market Insights subscribers closed out a position for more than a 25% profit in just over 2 weeks. To get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights, along with your free copy of The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Supplies are limited for this one-of-a-kind special, so act today and don't let this opportunity pass you by. Offer only valid for new subscribers.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about technical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, oh boy, got something going on here. Not exactly sure what it is. Just make sure we got everything set up here so everybody can see everything in the charts. Yeah, we're back up and running. Anyway, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. We'll discuss your particular stock. Apple's off about $2.40. Not, it's basically like saying a $6 stock is off 6 cents or something. I mean, it's just not a big deal. I'd like to always refer to my prime example in statistical inference, and that is the Dow. I'm not big on it to begin with, but most people go, well, you had a 200-point move or a 100-point move in the Dow. And any kind of mathematical theory on signals would have you understand that a 100-point move on the Dow, we'll say the Dow's at 12,000, and a 500-point move on the Dow at the same 12,000 move is not 5 times the signal. It's actually like 9.6 times the signal of a 100-point move. And they are logarithmic. As you get lower and lower, they do tend to be just get into the noise levels of a lot of what people look at. So sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, like Freud said, and sometimes it's just a pop and just not a kind of a nick out there. It's on the record. It's not actual signals or anything else. So we have to kind of watch that and just know sometimes everything doesn't mean something, and sometimes things are just nothing. We try to make them into too much of what they are. Continue looking at that volume here, because that's going to be real critical. Yesterday, we had probably the last 30 minutes had all the volume, which kind of, you would have liked to seen light volume into the end. So far today, 3.1 billion shares means we're probably tracking for 3.6, 3.7. And we've got kind of a steady up 10 on the S&P. We'll continue to watch it. One of the other ones I had in my newsletter this morning that came out just about at the open, so you might had a chance to catch on this one today, was on semiconductors. Symbol is ONN. And this one had a very nice signal. You had basically two things. You've had support previously at these levels. If you look over on the far left-hand side of the chart, November 16th, November 22nd, and December 5th, you were bouncing around those low, like $8.25 levels, $8.40 levels, and it did break out. It did break out with nice volume on the 18th of January. It's been kind of consolidating off that. That breakout day actually came with 21 million shares. It's not uncommon to bounce several times back here. 11 million shares on March 7th, down to $8.29. Yesterday, we get that second bounce, which is what I always look for, which is a 50% test of a previous low. And in this one, you've got 20 million for the breakout, 11 million for the retest, and then 5 million. And normally, that's a pretty good signal that people are just not going to sell no matter what, especially on just a horrific day like that. You had the chance to blow all those folks out. But this is a very classic pattern out here. Now, could you go up maybe 875, something like that, and come back and test one more time? Yeah, but if we have a market that goes back up to 1425, you've got a pretty good signal here, and probably a signal maybe not to buy this particular stock, but really start looking back in semiconductors and see if you can't find maybe something better. But this one's at least sending out a fairly clear signal in the markets these days. And let's see, what else do we have going on here. One of the ones that has kind of failed and wanted to show it over the last couple of days here is Pandora. We've been very bearish on almost every single IPO. I think the last one I liked was MCP, and even then I liked it just before the lockup date. And I think almost every one of these is about the same. They've had so few shares trading early on that when the lockup period was over and actual volume started to come into these shares and into these stocks, they were destined to kind of be a failure. We looked at Groupon. It's had a lot of negative news. Pandora is another company that just these companies that are trying to provide free audio service like radio still have a problem with ever, it's a neat service, but can they actually ever charge for it? Pandora, we were actually watching for these lows out here. $6, what is that, 15 cents on December 12th out here, 7.6 million shares. Over the last few days, 4 million shares, 6 million shares yesterday, 1 million shares. So could it pop back into this range? Yeah, it might. But you still have a huge amount of overhead. And I believe there are more shares in Pandora coming out in May. So make sure that you keep an eye on all these stocks with limited trading. Let's see, actually, I've got, what do we have here? This one came public, it's coming up on 8 months. But as soon as you started having the shares available for the first IPO move, it is kind of rolled over and down. had a kind of a nice little W formation up here at the top and pulled back down. But be very careful on any of these IPOs that are out here in the marketplace. What else do we have? Newell Rubbermaid is another one that I found kind of interesting. It also wasn't able to hold the previous low out here. Actually did have big volume on it yesterday. Of course, on a pop, kind of moves all boats a little higher. March 7th low out here had 3.3 million shares on the last big low at, what is that, $17.19. We blew through that yesterday, blew through it with volume, and 3.8 million shares, so a good 500,000 shares more. There are some of these stocks that had been doing well, and it looked like they were going to try to come back and at least retest some of the highs. In this case, Newell Rubbermaid was $20.28, February 18th of 2011. And it was making kind of nice run out of here. Maybe if you bought it at the bottom, not too bad. Actually, a very good signal on this one. I was watching it, and it was one that I just kind of missed. But here's where volume really pays off. That August 10th low, $11.50, 11 million shares, got into it with 7 million shares, bounced a little. You had a wonderful reversal day out here. Some people call these chopsticks. I've heard them called railroad tracks. These aren't the best set that I've ever seen, but in context down there at that low, you can really see, let me see, pull them off here again. You can see those two days, which are pretty decent sized candles for this particular stock. Came down, did a reversal with 3.6 million shares. Again, anywhere you get into these things with volume drops about 50%, you've got probably about the best odds that you know of that the stock at least is changing direction. It may go sideways, but generally you got something like an 80% or better chance that you've hit a bottom when you have such a low volume compared to previous low volumes out there. Let's see if we had some other ones here. I had a couple of Gartley patterns. We wanted to go through those that are kind of setting up. Today's bounce has kind of changed the look and feel of those Gartleys. And I wanted to see how they pulled up. Probably not the best example of Gartleys out there right now, but we've got at least a couple of them developing. The Duck, Aflac, I don't like this company since they fired Gilbert Gottfried. I kind of always had a bad taste for someone that hired somebody that knew exactly what they were, and then when they did something exactly like they should, because that's the person they were. It's kind of like hiring Charlie Sheen. If he didn't go nuts once or twice a year, you'd be surprised, but you know what you're getting when you hire him. And anyway, Aflac, AFL, kind of got a nice little Gartley pattern out here setting up. The volumes don't really size up here as well as you would think. We had a little bit bigger volume than you want yesterday. It still hasn't reached the 718, but it got very close. $41.87 was the target. It got within, what, about 15 cents of that? Fairly close, and it's bounced now. But Aflac may be a good one to be watching out here. Nice Gartley pattern. We'll go through it if you're at home, just get familiar with these patterns. The December 19th set your X point. That was at $39.57. Your first A point comes at February 8th, $50.33. And your B point comes at $44.37 on March 8th. And March 19th, you get your C point for $48.22. And that sets up your projection to $41.87, which you got within about 20 cents of that yesterday. You'd probably be able to set something up. You want the 781 number, and that's $41.87. But kind of a tried and true. One of the better looking Gartley patterns out here for my power law vector indicator. You had about 70% of the energy down than you did from the X to A leg in this leg, and it's kind of what you're looking for. What you don't like is that huge volume day yesterday. You'd like it to get tested one more time on lighter volume, maybe even go to a 0.8 retracement on that level. But one of the things that you really need to think about, Tom preaches in his courses, and I think also Steve Rhodes, which he does have a Master Trader Series course coming up here soon. In fact, April 13th and 14th here in Tampa. But you've got a nice... you want to look at the A to B and C to D ratios. Hopefully those should be about 1 to 1. Coming up in when we release Art of the Charts in the Gartley pattern, it will actually give you that ratio. This one's 1.04, so pretty close to 1 to 1, which is that 1 to 1 ABC pattern you're wanting to look for. So keep a close eye on that one. See how they develop as you and I actually get more and more education into Gartley patterns. Beezer Home is another one that was kind of trying to set up a Gartley pattern. It hasn't gone all the way to a bullish butterfly. It got kind of close in there. I think maybe we might have a little bit more weakness in this sector. It did have more energy down than its previous leg up in the X to A leg. But still, 1.14, probably something that you want to make sure tested its previous low out here in lighter volume, and it didn't. The January 24th X point, $2.80, 3.1 million shares. Got into that with 3.6 million shares. So you certainly would like to see maybe one more test, maybe get down to the target price of $2.48, and then see the real light volume out there if you thought maybe this might be a good pattern to actually start setting up homes. I know some people are out there bullish on homes. I'm not one of them. I'm not bearish on them, but kind of neutral on them at the moment. So we do have some setups out here. And the last one, if I didn't get to it, is Nura Corporation, N-U-C-O-R, N-U-E. This one had one of the better ones. Again, it pretty much turned right at existing gap level. So you had kind of a couple of things working for you. Hang on just one second. One of the things that is interesting in this particular stock is it is steel and steel products in Nucor. And getting a nice bounce like it did out here today is kind of interesting. I think probably a little bit on that Alcoa news. But you had kind of a nice setup out here. I would have liked to have seen a little less volume yesterday, but when you look at it at the original X point in the setup, which was March 7th at $41, you had 3.9 million shares, 3.7 million shares on a horrible day like yesterday. Not all that bad. Actually popping back above that $41.09 low would make you think that maybe there was a chance that this thing had put in a low and this Gartley pattern would actually start working. We'll go through the whole thing here because we do have time, I think. And that, yeah, we've got about 30 seconds. Just wanted to remind you, we did talk a little bit about Steve Rhodes having his Master Trader course. That is going to be April 13th and 14th here in the wonderful city of Tampa. Also in Boston, April 27th and 28th. We were talking just before the show started. Always have a good discussion with him when I come in and he's in the office. And I think he was on last night on the Tom O'Brien Show. Probably be on a few more times before the Master Trader Series. We'll be back in a minute. You can give me a call, 877-927-6648.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Hi folks, turns out my best student became my best teacher. Steve Rhodes absolutely raised my standards, and I'll guarantee he'll raise yours.
Thanks, Tom. What I've learned is that if you want more, you must become more, and that transformation, folks, that occurs the moment you decide to become a master. Now, the quickest way to mastery is through immersion, and for 2 solid days in Denver, Boston, and Tampa, I'll create a new standard of wealth for those few trader investors who have a burning desire to succeed. At my Master Trader course, I'll teach you how to create the ultimate money machine. These are the best-kept secrets in the business. Roadblocks, folks. Dabblers give up when they first appear. Stressors last just a little bit longer, but masters expect roadblocks and achieve extraordinary results when they bust right through them. I have all the benefit of knowing the type of wealth creation that I can generate for you. You don't. That's why I'm making this unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with my Master Trader course, I'll refund every penny. That's right. I take all the risk, and you get all the benefit. Go to the homepage at TFNN.com and sign up today.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the opening call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his opening call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his opening call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the opening call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Yeah, we want to look at a couple of the stocks over that kind of drive a lot of the market here. And one of the ones I wanted to look at to see how much destruction actually came in Intel and Microsoft before the end of the day here. And so far, pretty light day or a couple of days for these. Of course, we've been talking on this show and the Tech Insider part of Windows 8 and, probably how many people were going to be upgrading. Also, the official drop-dead date for Windows Vista. And, of course, Windows XP basically getting the axe. You got a nice little pop back up in here. The volume was about the same as the low days of March 28th and 29th. At $27.67 was the low. You had, 390,000 shares in Intel. Fairly unimpressive volumes out there lately. And then when we got into, or actually is that actually not 360,000, 339 million, excuse me. We had 36 million yesterday, and we're popping back into that trading range. And volume's fairly light, but you are back in that trading range. As long as you stay above that $27.67 range up there, you haven't really done a lot of technical damage in the marketplace to this one. The other one is MSFT. Had a lot larger, at least pullback potentially in this. Probably just because I think probably the lull before the storm of this fall also kind of just a little overblown or easy or overblown part in tech. What I like about this one is when it did break out, and that was on February 16th. I bet that was on a Friday because I think that's the day that we talked about it on the Tech Insider Hour part of the Tom O'Brien show. You had that huge volume, and now you're basically getting to the bottom of that candle yet again. That low on that day was $30.30. You kind of got into it today with the pullback, and we're going to have, 34, going to have about 34 million. You got to think that maybe ONN and some of these others are saying these semis have hit at least a short-term low out here in the marketplace. Doesn't look like there's a lot going on in extreme volume. Even if you use yesterday's volume 54 million against that breakout candle of 94 million, you're into it with, what's it yesterday, 54 million. Today, 34 million. And so let's say you get 38 million out here today. Wouldn't want it to go any lower out here, but certainly a pullback on light volume compared to that breakout day. Could go as far back as this February 14th low. What is that? $29.40 or $29.85, and taking a look at that. But it's fairly light out there, at least to this point. Nothing more than consolidation of this breakout, but we are, or at least Microsoft has its back against the wall. A few of these other ones where you don't want to see them go much lower and then start seeing volume come in. Just going to check one last time on the volume as we have a few minutes left. Let's see here. Got about 30 seconds left. Let's see what we've got. Not a lot of volume coming in here at the end of the day. Certainly nothing like yesterday. 3.5 billion shares. Not a bad day. See Tom O'Brien warming up in the bullpen there. Looking through his stocks. Getting all ready and set. Going to wrap up the night for us. Anyway, probably listen to his call on Alcoa today. Anyway, have a great night.